I challenged ECOWAS when they were trying to mobilize the military to go and fight Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. Oh, we can have a coup. I said, help me understand something. France has had coups against these nations for centuries. When France is forcing these countries to deposit their bank reserves with France, that's a coup, an economic coup. President Tinubu, what have you done about this coup? You are sitting on the big boy chair now. Talk to me. What are you going to do about this coup? When France is making sure that all natural resources for these countries belong to France, that's a coup. What are you going to do about it, ECOWAS? These are coups. But somehow, we don't see them as coups because it's the white men doing it. If a black man was doing the same thing to another black man, oh, you know, they'll call them out in a heartbeat. We have a serious problem as Africans. We don't even realize how sick we are with this disease. We are not just sick at home. We are not just sick in the doctor's waiting room. We are not just sick in the general ward in the hospital. We are in the intensive care. It's deep. You see, as a doctor, I cannot help you unless you come to me with your complaints. At least recognize that you're sick. But most of the time, we don't even realize that we are sick. So where do we begin? This stupidity that is going on in Africa has got to come to an end. And you can't expect those who put us in positions of servitude to get us out. It's not going to happen. So the question is, when is the African going to wake up? The African is stupid in Africa. The African is stupid in America. The African is stupid in South America. The African is stupid in the Caribbean. Wherever you see us as black people, we do some of the most stupid things. You go into neighborhoods. In America, where I've spent most of my time, look at the Mexicans. They stick together like super glue when it comes to issues pertaining to their existence in the United States as Mexicans. The Irish, the Jews, the Chinese, the Indians ask for their voices loud and clear because they understand the importance of unity. They don't have to love each other, but they understand when it comes to issues pertaining to their sheer existence, they must stick together like super glue, and they do. But when you ask for the voices of black people, we scatter like mice. We don't believe in each other. I was in Dallas and one Zimbabwean, I was asking, are there a lot of Zimbabweans who are you? No, I don't talk to Zimbabweans. I'm the only black person in my neighborhood, and she was so proud of it. I'm speaking to another friend, this time in Zimbabwe. She was so proud that her son cannot speak Shona, and that the son speaks English like a British. And she's telling me this with a certain level of pride. And that's the mother.
Welcome to my YouTube channels once more. Timothy's reaction is my name. Hope you are continuing watching this video. It's our mama Africa. We call her Dr. Arcana. Dr. Arcana is really speaking from her bottom of the heart. That lady loves Africa so much. There's no other person who loves Africa and speak the truth. It's only Dr. Arcana. Dr. Arkana is she's ambassador, former ambassador to African Union to United States. She's really calling African as a stupid. African as stupid in America, in Caribbean, all across the world. African is stupid. So she is telling African leaders to wake up and to embrace the unity. She is telling that we must follow the suit of Chinese, the suit of Mexican and Indians. So let's watch this video until the end, and then I will come back with more comment.
I challenged ECOWAS when they were trying to mobilize a military to go and fight Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. Oh, we can have a coup. I said, help me understand something. France has had coups against these nations for centuries. When France is forcing these countries to deposit their bank reserves with France, that's a coup, an economic coup. President Tinubu, what have you done about this coup? You are sitting on the big boy chair now. Talk to me. What are you going to do about this coup? When France is making sure that all natural resources for these countries belong to France, that's a coup. What are you going to do about it, ECOWAS? These are coups. But somehow, we don't see them as coups because it's the white men doing it. If a black man was doing the same thing to another black man, oh, you know, they'll call them out in a heartbeat. We have a serious problem as Africans. We don't even realize how sick we are with this disease. We are not just sick at home. We are not just sick in the doctor's waiting room. We are not just sick in the general ward in the hospital. We are in the intensive care. It's deep. You see, as a doctor, I cannot help you unless you come to me with your complaints. At least recognize that you're sick. But most of the time, we don't even realize that we are sick. So where do we begin? This stupidity that is going on in Africa has got to come to an end. And you can't expect those who put us in positions of servitude to get us out. It's not going to happen. So the question is, when is the African going to wake up? The African is stupid in Africa. The African is stupid in America. The African is stupid in South America. The African is stupid in the Caribbean. Wherever you see us as black people, we do some of the most stupid things. You go into neighborhoods. In America, where I've spent most of my time, look at the Mexicans. They stick together like super glue when it comes to issues pertaining to their existence in the United States as Mexicans. The Irish, the Jews, the Chinese, the Indians ask for their voices loud and clear because they understand the importance of unity. They don't have to love each other, but they understand when it comes to issues pertaining to their sheer existence, they must stick together like super glue, and they do. But when you ask for the voices of black people, we scatter like mice. We don't believe in each other. I was in Dallas and one Zimbabwean, I was asking, are there a lot of Zimbabweans who are you? No, I don't talk to Zimbabweans. I'm the only black person in my neighborhood, and she was so proud of it. I'm speaking to another friend, this time in Zimbabwe. She was so proud that her son cannot speak Shona. and that the son speaks English like a British. And she's telling me this with a certain level of pride. And that's the mother, which means the child is just as doomed. When are we going to wake up and realize that our inability to move forward as a people is because we were defeated where it matters the most? I'm so glad we're sitting here in an institution of higher learning. I'm going to ask you to say, what are we going to do about the educational curriculum? Because that's where it begins. They don't want us knowing our history. They don't want us knowing where we came from. Because if you are a person without a history, who are you? Where do you come from? As Africans, we are too busy running away from who we are. We don't want to embrace our Africanness. Why not? If you refuse and don't accept your Africanness, then who are you? I tell the Africans when they try to act like they want to speak like an American, they want to lose their accent. You can never speak English like an American. Then you don't want to speak your own vernacular. Then who are you? You are just like a ship without an anchor. The wind blows that way, there you go. The wind blows that way, there you go. And there are too many of us who find themselves in that boat without an anchor. What's happening in Burkina Faso must be supported. What's happening in Mali must be supported. What's happening in Niger must be supported. If you care the least bit about our future, how else are we going to get France out of Africa? How else are we going to get Britain, Germany, all those former colonizers? They're now in as multinationals, siphoning billions out of Africa, using safe havens to hide their returns. We know they're here. They are now wolf in sheep's clothing. What is it going to take? If you look at the move that Niger made, by simply saying, France, you can no longer buy our uranium for 80 cents a kilo, when we know very well you're selling it for 200 euros per kilo. Niger was realizing about 1 billion out of the sales of its uranium a year, while France was realizing close to 300 billion. That one move alone, when Niger said, if you want our uranium, 200 euros a kilo, please. Immediately, 300 billion. 1 minute. It's not going to take much to change Africa. We got what it takes. If there's one thing we're very fortunate of, we're endowed with everything the rest of the world needs. The truth of the matter is, we don't need the world. The world needs Africa. But do we really know that and believe in it and are ready to stand up and proclaim who we are? And let them know. But I've sat in meetings where I've seen ministers, America, can you help us with this? Europe, can you help us? Begging endlessly for something that we have. Whatever they are giving you is what they stole from us. And they are giving you peanuts. When are we going to stop being outsmarted by these people? They come smiling at you. They come to give you aid. You know very well that's your money. But we're so grateful. I once went to the World Bank. Oh, Ambassador, we have money for the African Union. Please, when the chairman comes. So the deputy chair came, and we went. They had $15 million for us. $15 million for the whole African Union. And here's the kicker. They were only going to give us 50% of that. And then when we can show them what we have done with the 7.5 million, then we can have the other 7.5. Blatantly insulting us. And I'm not supposed to say anything. I got my deputy chair, so I need to shut up. But I asked to go to the bathroom. And I called the chair. I said, could you please come down the hall? I said, let's not take that money. I don't know about you, but I feel highly and royally insulted. Treat you like a child. You don't know how to handle money. So we'll just give you 7.5 million. Let's see what you do with it. And then we may or may give you the rest. It's the same thing they're doing at the United Nations. When Africa is supposed to be at the UN Security Council as the 6th and 7th members of the UN Security Council. But you can't have veto power. So come on in, Africa. Oh, we got a kiddie chair over here for you. Sit over there, we got some cookies. Sit over there and be quiet while we take care of business. And we entertain that. Wow. What's wrong with this? What gives me hope is that we have a vibrant African youth who are saying enough is enough. We are not taking this anymore. This abuse has got to come to an end. The exploitation of the African continent has got to come to an end. The Berlin Conference must be dismantled. And for those of you who think Berlin Conference is a piece of history, guess what? It's a piece of legislation nicely designed over a period of 4 months to see to it that Africa and her children are forever defeated and dominated to this day. As long as there's a country called Malawi, as long as there's a country called Gabon with 1.5 million people, as long as there's a country called Eswatini, Berlin Conference is alive and well. And that's where we get defeated internationally through trade. Oh, you're all equal. You are a sovereign nation, Eswatini. You are a sovereign nation, Togo. You are a sovereign nation, Malawi. And every African country for that matter. So let's go to the market. You, Malawi, with your little basket, with 3 eggs, you're coming to the market. And here comes China with truckloads of eggs. I once was told that Zimbabwe thought, well, let's see if we can sell eggs to China. Let's supply some eggs. They're bringing stuff to us. Let's give them eggs. So I told the president, ask people to go do some research and see how much eggs we need to send to China. The report came back and said, Mr. President, the amount of eggs we produce the whole year, that's one breakfast in China. So you want Zimbabwe to go to the market with China and sell eggs? That's David and Goliath. And it was all by design. As long as we remain as the little-bitty economies that we are today, we are forever getting our rear ends kicked. The only way for Africa to survive is when we unite. A united Africa is a must. But it's going to take minds that are awoken, minds that understand the importance of unity, minds that are free of the legacy of colonization and the legacy of slavery. As we speak today, we're all sick from the disease. None of us is exempt. And that's a fact. I'm going to ask each and every one of you to have a serious conversation with the image in the mirror. And ask yourself why you feel the way you do. Why are you automatically afraid of those who don't look like you? Why do you feel defeated? Why are you afraid to speak up and stand your ground? Besides, you are the mothers and fathers of humanity. Without the black woman, without the black man, the rest of the world would not be. That's a fact. We civilized the world. They came to Africa and stole everything that they never had. Came back with what they stole from us and made us believe that they gave it to us. Timbuktu. Egypt. The Greeks, when they needed to be trained, where were they sent? To Egypt. Because it was already there. We're already doing it. But they wanted the history to start from here, so we don't talk about what happened before. My brothers and sisters, we are inheritors of an amazing continent. South Africa is an amazing country. We have people like Nelson Mandela, Walter Sisulu, our very own president. People who suffered and sacrificed everything for this country to be free. Why are we trying to disrespect them and go back? South Africa should lead the way. Nigeria should lead the way. Kenya should lead the way. We have countries that should lead the way because they have what it takes to take Africa where Africa needs to be. But let me also add that the leaders cannot do it alone. I don't care what ideas President Zuma had. If we are not ready to implement those ideas and think he can do it as leadership alone, it's not going to work. I was discussing the issues of the quote-unquote coups in Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali. One African said, but Ambassador, why do we have to do coups to change government? Why can't we just do like the Chinese do? I said, son, let me ask you one question. During the pandemic, the Chinese built a 10,000 square foot hospital bed in 1 week. Are you Africans ready to do that? The Chinese are willing to work non-stop to do what needs to be done for the sake of country, for the sake of nation. We're too greedy, too selfish to do that. I said, son, until you start having the mind of a Chinaman, you can never be like a Chinaman. We have some serious introspection to do. We have some serious thinking to do. We're not asking you to love each other. We simply understand, we want you to understand, that while there is a certain level of camaraderie that exists in other races, there was a strategy put in place to make sure that we remain divided and conquered. Fear was intentionally instilled in us, so we will be forever fearful for nothing, but we're just afraid. There's another book I want to recommend to all of you. It's called The Making of a Slave, the Willie Lynch Letters. Willie Lynch was a slave owner from the Caribbean. He had come up with a way of training his slaves so they would remain submissive for generations to come. One of the ways was taking a black man, tie one leg on one horse facing that way, another leg on another horse facing that way, and he would hit the horses, and they would literally split the man apart. In front of his children, in front of his family, in front of other black people and other slaves. And he particularly wanted the pregnant women. Why? that would be passed on, that fear would be passed on to even the unborn child. So it is over 400 years later, we almost underwent a genetic mutation of sheer stupidity. We were programmed to be afraid. We were programmed to almost be stupid and just do stupid things. The things that we tolerate, no man in any other country would tolerate. But we do. It's going to take all of you. The students, you are our future. We're counting on you. We're a lost cause. I feel encouraged when we have young people like our moderator. Young people who are awoken. Young people who are saying we can no longer continue to be lied to anymore. We know the truth. Is South Africa ready? Is South Africa ready to lead the way? To stand up and say enough is enough? That we can no longer continue to be exploited. We can no longer continue to be treated as second-class citizens in our own land. The future is bright. If only we could understand that the power is in our hands. Yes, leadership has a lot of role to play, but we have a bigger role to play as citizens. Let's believe in ourselves. Let's stand up for what's right. Let's let the world know that we are the inheritors of the most amazing continent. But they can no longer continue to allow our resources, our inheritance, to fund the educational systems in their countries, to fund the healthcare systems in their countries, to fund the infrastructure development in their countries, while we are languishing in poverty. And they have the audacity to tell us that we're poor people. How dare they? Let me conclude by reading 3 quotes. The first one is from former President Jomo Kenyatta. He said, when missionaries arrived, the Africans had the land and the missionaries had the Bible. They taught us how to pray with our eyes closed. When we opened them, they had the land and we had the Bible. The next quote is from Marcus Garvey. He said, a people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots. And finally, Patrice Lumumba said, the day will come when history will speak. Africa will write its own history. It will be a history of glory and dignity. The time is now. There is no turning back. Africa, wake up. The issues of justice, equality, we understand them. Our ask as Africans is a simple one. We're simply asking that the world treats us the same way they would want to be treated. We are demanding a world that is just, a world that is fair, a world that is free of bigotry and hate. We're not asking the world to do anything that they would not want done unto them. So our ask is a very simple one. I need each and every one of you, after you've had a serious conversation with the image in the mirror, to stand up on top of the tallest mountain, look in the mirror, and tell the world that we are the proud, the beautiful, the intelligent, sophisticated, highly adaptable, and totally indestructible Africans. My name is Alkana Chiomore, a proud mother of 5 and a grandmother of 7 and 2 on the way. Today, we spent an afternoon at Robben Island. And as we were walking around, I had a bottle of water in my hands. And my sister, Honorable Minister Sisulu, leaned over to me and she said, "Take it easy on that water. We don't have female facilities at Robben Island." I said, "What? 2024, 30 years since independence, there are no female facilities at Robben Island. What gives?" Her comments reminded me, for when I went to Ghana, speaking at the University of Cape Coast, I stayed at a beautiful hotel. When I walked into the room, right above the headboard was a humongous photograph of Queen Elizabeth. And I thought to myself, now I am going to go to bed tonight with the shadow of Queen Elizabeth hanging over me. What kind of dreams was I going to have that night? I nicely found time. I called my VP and I said, "Could you help me take this photograph down? We shall put it back tomorrow morning, because tonight I intend to have good dreams." And I wondered why, since I was in Ghana, what kind of dreams I would have had I spent the night with the shadow of Nana Asandwa hanging over my head. I also wondered, why is it that in 2024, we still have the photograph of Queen Elizabeth hanging over the walls of hotels in Ghana, and not a single photograph of a king or a chief from Ghana? So it is the following morning, I opened my speech by simply wondering, why is it that the photograph of Nanaya Asantwa wasn't hanging in that room, and that the manager of the hotel was a friend and that we were going to have a conversation. Some little bird sent a little message. By the time I got to my room, there was a picture of a queen, a Ghanaian queen, hanging over my head. In 1963, our Pan-African fathers, at the invitation of Emperor Haile Selassie, met in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, to discuss the building of an Africa that spoke with one voice, the building of an Africa that was united, the building of an Africa that had a single currency, a single monetary policy, a single military, an Africa that should be, an Africa that was once upon a time. Unfortunately, when they met in 1963, NATO was in full force. NATO heard about the meeting that was getting to be revolutionary, a meeting that was going to undo the Berlin Conference, a meeting that was going to put an end to the exploitation of the African continent. That meeting had to be disrupted. So it is when our Pan-African fathers went to Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, we had the Casablanca group, which was Ghana, Guinea, Mali, Egypt, Morocco, Tunisia, and Algeria. They said, Africa for the Africans and African Union now. The other 33 members, having tasted power, they were the Monrovia group. They said, no, let's wait on this African unity thing. Let's go slow. They were the majority. So the Casablanca group lost. Year in, year out, the African leaders would meet The issue of an Africa that spoke with one voice was tabled, and year in and year out, that conversation was passed to next year. Fast forward 2024, we are still going slow at the African Union. The question is, our leadership is fully aware of the pillars of development. Our leaders are fully aware of the enemies to Africa's development. And yet somehow they're incapable of addressing them. We know when it comes to West Africa, the document that African countries were made to sign as they attained their quote-unquote independence, the document that's labeled the Pact for the Continuation of Colonization. On one hand, we are giving you your independence, but on the other hand, we want you to sign this document, agreeing to continue to be colonized. And if you choose not to sign this document, in my pocket, I have a gun that has your name. So it is that Guinea and Mali, they chose not to sign the document. History tells us that France moved into those countries, poured concrete into the sewage pipes, destroyed schools, hospitals, roads, anything that could be destroyed, they destroyed. Anything that they could pick up and take back with them to France, they took. According to President Mugabe, they even took the last pencil. This was done as a way of letting the other African countries know that should you refuse to sign this document, this was the fate that awaited you. Further down, we have more countries that tried to say, wait a minute, the Pact for the Continuation of Colonization is something that's not sustainable. You have to give up 85% at that time of your bank reserves, deposit them with France. Those funds, once gone, they're not coming back. All your minerals discovered and yet to be discovered belong to France, and French companies had the first right of refusal. Your language of instruction shall be French. Your military can only be equipped by France. Your military can only be trained by France. Now, give me a break here. Imagine you are the president of a West African country under French control, and your chief of staff comes to you on your first day in office and says, Mr. President, before you resume your duties, I have some information to share with you. You must give up control of your finances. You must give up control of your natural resources. You must give up control of your military. Now, if you stay away from those, you are free to run your country as you wish. What kind of a country are you running? What kind of a leader are you? And I'm going to bring that question to you. To this day, those African countries are still required to deposit their bank reserves with France. Now, the numbers have gone down some. They're down to the 50, 55, 60. But by and large, with the exception of Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali that said, France, pack your bags and go home. The rest of the African countries are still subject.
Welcome back. Hope you have watched that clip until the end. And for the first time, if you come across my video, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, share, like, and comment. Today I've bring here the Dr. Arcana. Dr. Arcana is the ambassador, a former ambassador to United States. The she has really spoken from her bottom of the heart. If you have seen that clip, she really loves Africa, and she wants every African leader to embrace his people. He has ended up of called up. If I have analyzed what she has telling us, she has telling African is that being a stupid. We are so stupid in we're so stupid in Africa, we're so stupid in America, in across all of the world. We are so stupid. Africans are stupid because they don't recognize themselves. She has also told us that we Africa we must support what is happening in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. As we all know that what is now happening in Burkina Faso President Ibrahim Traore is being fought by these Western countries because of his stand towards defending his people. What Ibrahim Traore did in Burkina Faso, the first thing that he won the heart of the people. When you win the heart of the people, there's no anybody who can conquer you. So Burkina Faso is now developing countries in terms of GPP compared to other ones. So Dr. Kana has told us that we Africa we must stand up and stand with Burkina Faso and Niger, because these Western countries they are fighting to bring down those three countries because of what? What the first thing Ibrahim Traore did in Burkina Faso, he scrubbed this colonialism. He's changed the leadership because he realized that this colonialism is benefiting the French people. French people were investing in terms of gold, so they ended up half cold their natural resource, and then they wanted us to beg them. But as we all know that Ibrahim Traore is a visionary leader as per now, because if he speaks the world listens. So these people, they don't want to see any revolutionary leaders, they just want a puppet leader. So Arikana has told us to wake up and stand with this Mali. Mali is now fighting for them, but these white people, this colonialism, are really these colonizers are really working out to stop us from uniting. So as we all know that education program is now the problem in Africa. So we African we must support the educational program. These things of taking our sons and daughters to go outside and study abroad so that they can be used there as a pupil. We don't want that. We want to develop our continent so that we don't want to beg these people. We want our continent to develop. We want Africa and Caribbean and Jamaica to develop so that we use our resources so that we develop it. Let's follow this suit of Chinese and Mexican are very united as a super glue. When they go anywhere in their country, when you find Chinese there, they call each and every person. We will not find anywhere that Chinese is fighting for other Chinese. This is also for Indians. Indians are doing business across the world because of the unity that they have. They called Indian after Indian, but they don't trust any African. But we African, we are divided. We cannot support each other. We can't. The Bible said that two is better than one, so we must follow the suit of these three countries: the Mexican, Indian, and Chinese. So we African we are so stupid. We are so stupid. We don't recognize yourself. We ended up will stop. We need to stop baking. Because we need to stop baking because what we are baking is from us. Eh? These people are stealing from us, then we go there baking, they are giving our money to this. So we need to stop baking. We not need to wake up. We need to follow the suit. So Arikana is telling us to unite Africa. She's telling us that we need to unite it so that we move forward with African. As we all know that in colonialism, some of the treaties that were signed were just forced. The existing of these treaties we must scrap out. We need to remove these treaties because these treaties cost us a lot. This colonialism, these people, like she has told us that these people, when they take like $15 million, they just give you around 25%, which is not good. That $15 million belongs to people of Africa, but you find that they only give you 15% of what they have got from Africa. So we need to wake up. We need to follow the suit of Burkina Faso, because we need to stand with Traore, as we all know that this country, these Western countries are planning to arrest Traore, are planning to eliminate Traore from power. So we need to stand with these leaders, because these leaders spoke a lot, spoke about the country. They don't beg. They say, Ibrahim Traore told us that we are rich. We don't need to beg from these white people. We are rich in terms of natural resources. We are rich in terms of development. So we don't need to borrow from these people. Then Ibrahim Traore also told us that we need to have our own currency. We need to do away with this United States. So this United States, the Arcana has sent a warning to this United States, and also to stop interfering with the business of Africa, because we Africa, we are now united. We want to unite it. So Arcana is calling us to advocating this unity. So this unity will take us far. We don't need to beg with these people. We need to have our own scholarship for in East Africa. We want to stop this habit of black people moving outside for education. We need to develop our own sector in terms of program. And for now, we need to realize that with Africa and our culture, Arcana has called us that we don't recognize ourselves, because when we go in United States, we want to speak English. We don't embrace our culture. We want to speak English in English, and that English is for this country. So we need to recognize ourselves and embrace our culture. So we Africa, we are so stupid in America, across the world. So she's telling us that we need to embrace, and we need to wake up and stick together as a super group. Thank you so much for watching my video. Once more, if you come across my first video, make sure to subscribe to this channel, share, comment and like. Bye for now.